That's Daily Podcast. Without you guys, this wouldn't be possible. Thank you guys for subscribing. We're blessed enough to have Bigfoot researcher Earl Jeffrey Mullins. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing great.
Yeah, man. And what new reports have you heard of here lately?
Nothing really a whole lot more. This um, the norm, pretty much. Different people come in the store sometimes and tell me a tale, something that they had happen to them, or they heard some kind of yell or some kind of scream or some kind of, something of that nature. But no one has come in with actually saying that they've seen something other than, maybe heard something. And it's been about the size of that.
Yeah. Have you ever heard anything about dogmen in this area?
Just the one story, that we know about that involving um, the child. And, that was pretty much debunked. Um, But the thing about it is, as well as I know, that just kind of disappeared off the radar. So um, I haven't heard a thing about that since.
Have you have you seen a lot of reports of Bigfoot more here in the summer or more in the winter?
How about the same, actually? About the same. Seems like, I would feel like you would get more reports maybe in the winter because of, or more sightings because of the lack of foliage and that kind of thing, that you might would see more likely the chances of seeing one. But then um, you got to think about with the foliage and everything, it's that where they've got more cover, they may be out moving more.
Yep,
So it's a flip of a coin, I guess, which way you want to, however you think about that.
yep. Now I'm gonna tell you a story about Goat Man here in Kentucky. And Greg Yost, who was originally from Louisville, lives in Indiana right now, is a he does Bigfoot stuff and sees a lot of Bigfoot. He also does Goat Man stuff, and he has a Goat Man footprint that he believes that is the only Goat Man footprint in the whole entire world. And this is actually the same exact area, and he was actually telling me about the story. And he believes that the Goat Man possibly a lot of people believe Goat Man possibly kills people during a certain time of the year, which at this bridge there is a lot of deaths at like the same time of the year, so that backs it up too. And it says a couple's curiosity about Kentucky's Goatman legend takes fatal turn on railroad. All right. By the time the young couple spotted the locomotive bearing down the railroad at over 30 miles an hour, they had no choice. Facing a 8-story drop on either side with no way to outrun the train, the pair's only hope was to cling to the sides of the tracks. The engineer later told officials as the Kentucky newspaper, I'm not going to say that. He blared his horn and tried to slow down, though the man on the tracks managed to make the split-second dive to the edge of the train. Was traveling too fast for his companion. There simply wasn't enough time. The train fatally struck a 26-year-old woman from Dayton, Ohio. She fell some 100 feet to the ground, whose names have not yet been released by authorities, traveled to Kentucky for an innocent bit of thrill seeking, a tour of Waverly Hills, and some haunted house they visited. While in Louisville, they caught wind of another story. One they decided to investigate in the twilight areas before their tour. The Poplick Monster, also known as the Goat Man or the Sheep Man. The Poplick Monster is an icon of Native American cryptology. Probably ain't saying that, right? Oh well. Lacking the national recognition of furry giants, Bigfoots, and Sasquatch, still within the confines of the woods surrounding Louisville. The creature has a rich history of lore and legend. This monster's origins stories are its name to hear the Sahara Club tell the Populate monster was it exhibited as a circus freak in the late 19th century. This ain't even important stuff it's telling us about. But yeah, man, there's stories like that when people go out looking for this thing about them dying and stuff. I don't think that's a coincidence. I believe that something's killing these people. Something put that woman on the thing while the train was coming, in my opinion. And I do believe that Goat Man is real. People believe Goat Man is from the pits of hell. What's your opinion on it?
That's the first I've ever heard of that creature. When did that story, how old is that story?
1 year. It said 1 year.
Okay.
It happens every year. People
Wow.
die in this exact area.
Well, yeah, if it's a continuing thing year after year, then it has to be something in the works with that. I'm like you, I it just ain't coincidence. It happens the same time every year. It has to
They
be
bel
something
they believe Goat Man does his killings for the devil.
from the what now?
For the devil. They believe Goat Man is satanic.
Mm-hmm.
And he Greg Yost, he does Bigfoot hunts and stuff like that. Not really hunts. He goes out and like doesn't take no equipment or anything, just sees Bigfoot all the time and stuff. Like he always gets stuff. Like he knows, like he said he's been real close to him. They say his name and stuff. He's a real good guy. And yeah, he says he has the only Goat Man footprint in the whole entire world. Greg Yost is an intelligent guy, man. He wouldn't make this stuff up, and I believe him. I believe that there's something to this Goat Man thing.
Yeah, that's interesting
Yeah,
for sure.
definitely stay away from Pop Lick Trestle. That's what it says. A bridge in Louisville, Kentucky, and hopefully I'm pronouncing it right. I mean that's a hard pronunciation word to say. So yeah, man, definitely stay away from that bridge because it seems like nothing good happens when you go look for Goat Man.
Hmm.
I'm not looking for Goat Man. I know that.
No, I'm gonna I want to kind of read up on that a little bit, though. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I know one thing's for sure. I'm not hunting for Goat Man. Have you heard anything similar to that, like with like a legend or a folk tale or something like that?
No, that's why, like I said, that's the first time I'd ever heard of Goat Man. You know, um, I've heard of the Dog Man and this,
Yeah.
Sasquatch and of course the Mothman and Chupacabra and
I'll
you can
read something. I'll read something for you about the Michigan Dogman. In Michigan, folklore, the Michigan Dogman was allegedly witnessed in 1817 in Michigan. The creature is described as a 7 foot tall, blue eyed, or amber eyed, canine like animal with the torso of a man, a fearsome howl that sounds like a human scream. According to the legends, the Michigan Dogman appears in a 10-year cycle that falls on years ending in 7. Sightings have been reported in several locations throughout Michigan, primarily in the northwestern part of the lower Peninsula. And these words, I'm not the best at pronouncing these words. These words are in 1987. The legend of the Michigan Dogman gained popularity when a disc jockey, Steve Cook, at WTCM FM recorded a song about the creature in this reported sighting. The history of Dogman. The creature was unknown to most of the modern world until very late in the 20th century. It is said to have been stalking the area around I can't even say it, since the days of the something tribes lived here. Authentic source for sightings made prior to 1987, however, have never been documented beyond Steve Cook's song discussed below. The first alleged encounter of the Michigan Dogman occurred in 1887 when two saw a creature they described as having a man's body and a dog's head. In 1937, in Paris, Michigan, I'm not gonna say that, was attacked by 5 wild dogs and said one of them walked on 2 legs. Reports of similar creatures also came from this area in the 1950s and 1967. Yeah, it really don't have. That's pretty much all it's got on Wikipedia about the Dogman. Have you heard similar stories to that about Dogman?
Just a scant few. I've you know I've got a friend, and that got me introduced me to that a little bit. I don't know a whole lot about it, but what little I do know about it seems like that it would be a creature that you definitely don't want to run across. It would be kind of leaning to the evil side.
Like the Goat Man.
Yes.
So
So
something's weird about the Goat Man and the Dog Man, in my opinion.
yeah. Well, I with all these different creatures and um if you're one of these if you're what you would call a conspiracy theorist, that kind of thing. I've always wondered about some of the creatures, not Sasquatch. I just think that Sasquatch is actually, like I've said, more human than animal, and it's been around since way back and even before this country was even settled. Uh, but now these other creatures like Dogman and the Scope Man you're saying, and I would have to just kind of wonder about, if it's some kind of experiment that kind of went wrong and that kind of nature, something that maybe these governments of the world know about and they experiment different things and then they come up with something like that and it just kind of goes wrong, so to speak.
Yeah, have you heard about the Ohio Grassman?
Grassman, no.
It's
No,
it
no, I
says
haven't.
people seek evidence of Bigfoot-like creature. The Ohio Grassman, a nest builder that sometimes attacks people. This was on Monster Quest. That's what it describes it as.
Hmm.
They honestly describe it as Bigfoot pretty much, but like green.
Yeah. Well, I mean why wouldn't there, there would be could be several different species of Sasquatch. I believe that. I mean, it's just according where you're at, which part of the world you're at. I mean, or anywhere. I mean, in different areas, no different from there would be like different races of people. Why wouldn't there be a different races of Sasquatch according to what part of the country or what part of the world you're at? I mean, I believe that. It's like I've said, I think they're more human than they are animal for sure. They're intelligent and they're intelligent enough to stay away from you. And um, and I don't think that, and I truly believe that they don't mean um, a human being no harm whatsoever. But like anything else, if you they feel threatened, then they could become dangerous in a heartbeat. I wouldn't want to get one mad at me.
Yeah, and what do you think about the Patterson footage that just became? It was its birthday. I don't know how old it is. Its birthday was a couple days ago of the video.
Yeah. Oh well, to me that's authentic, no doubt about it. It's authentic.
Yeah, we'll see if I can find any more stuff. Um,
Yeah, I think I seen um, a picture. I seen on one of the news feeds or something. It was I don't know how recent or how old the photo was, but it was Gimlin and Bobo from Finding Bigfoot.
Yep. They Bigfoot definitely is one of the best things out there to do research on if you're into cryptids.
Yes.
Have you what's your thoughts on Mothman though?
Well, I mean, I think it exists, but as far as having any experiences with it, the only one I know of an instance when I was doing route work and I was with another driver, um, and we was in, I think it was in maybe central Kentucky we was at, or northern Kentucky, I can't exactly remember, but a lady and her granddaughter had an encounter with a Mothman, and they was going to the cemetery to uh, decorate her husband's grave, and they come across this creature, and it was sitting in a tree, and said it had red eyes, and it was just sitting there, just looking at them. It didn't bother them or anything, but it was just sitting there perched, just sitting there looking at them.
Yep.
And you get a tale like that from an older person, and then a young child. I mean, they ain't gonna make something like that up.
No, definitely not. And there's something there's a story that I'm gonna read for you. Are you familiar with the Paintsville UFO slash train crash?
I just vaguely, yeah,
All right,
I've heard something about that, I think.
I'll read the story for you. The Paintsville UFO slash train crash, January the 14th of 2002 in Paintsville, Kentucky. In 2002, a train was hauling coal through Paintsville, Kentucky, on its way to Shelbyana at exactly 2:47 a.m. Strange hovering lights appeared on the tracks ahead of them. The train's electronics went haywire above the nearby river. At least three other hovering crafts seemed to be scanning the waters with searchlights. These UFOs were described as metallic with no windows or visible openings. The train's diesel engines lost power and unable to stop enough, it struck the UFOs closest to the tracks. After reporting the incident, the crew was instructed to bring their damaged engine into the yard at Paintsville. Once there, witnesses described as being greeted by an by an army of workers immediately tending to our train, while several people in weird outfits rushed around. Witnesses also claimed that the train's damaged heritage, car, car, God Almighty, car, uh, yeah, whatever. I'm not damaged, care, care. I just can't pronounce the word. My bad. Had been removed and placed under a large tent buzzing with activity. After extensive questioning, the workers were transported to Martin, Kentucky, and allowed to return home. By that time, there was no trace of the activity at the Paintsville yard, and the public was told that the entire incident was due to a rock slide on the track. And yeah, man, what's your opinion on that? I don't think a rock slide would do that much damage to a train where they take it out of work forever. Literally, it's never been on the tracks ever again.
No, no, that's is that a national known story, or is that just a local known
That's a
story?
national known story.
That's that's good. That's interesting.
Yep. And
Well, I
June,
mean, I believe in UFOs and that kind of thing. I mean, I've seen one in my lifetime, possibly two, but yeah, I believe in that, all that stuff. As far as UFOs.
Junebug from In Dark Places actually went there. I believe 7 years later, and they're going to do a documentary and stuff there. But all the stuff is gone. But there was new gravel in that area, so they definitely cleaned up that area and put new gravel and everything there. So they was definitely trying to hide something.
Yeah, some kind of, yeah, there was some kind of probably um something from the craft that they didn't want nobody to see or find out about.
And Junebug, one of the maintenance workers who is dead now, one of his family members told Junebug that he did see a UFO, but he couldn't come and talk to him. And I believe 2 or 3 years after that, the maintenance worker actually died. So really, the only person that possibly could have come forward is dead. So
Yeah.
we'll never find out exactly really what happened unless somebody that was inside the train comes forward and gives the true story. But I don't expect that to ever happen.
No, because most people, if it was something of that nature, they was probably silenced, told to be silent about it.
Yeah, the maintenance worker said he wouldn't. There's no way he'd come forward and talk. So, but you never know. Like 10, 11 years from when he wasn't willing to talk, but he told his cousin he might have been willing to talk right now. But so hmm, it's just a weird situation.
Yeah, well, that's the nature of that. The most of the time, be it if they was had a visit from what you would call, I guess, the men in black or government people like that, they was probably told to be, hush about it. They weren't silenced. So, and then it's on the flip of that, you got a lot of people that wouldn't say anything because they're afraid of being ridiculed. So, kind of a two-sided coin there.
Yeah, I wish I could show people the. There's another story over here. The lights over Lexington, Kentucky, in November the 25th of 2018. It says these pulsing, colorful lights reported over Lexington are definitely hard to explain. That's all it says, but it has a picture of the lights, man. And I wish I could show these, but I can't, obviously. But yeah, man, these lights on this look very weird. It definitely does not look like something from this planet. There's actually a video of it on YouTube too, so you can just look up UFO over Lexington, Kentucky on YouTube, and you can see what I'm talking about.
That's interesting too.
It's like orange. One of them's. Let me get back on there. I believe one of them looks kind of orangish yellow. One of them kind of looks blue, and the other one I can't. It really doesn't have any color to it. There's like three of them. They're really small. Then you look at down the video below, and you can see one of them more looks like gold than what it does in the picture, and one of them definitely looks like a diamond, like a shiny diamond, and the other one you can't even really tell what it is. So I can definitely tell there's two weird objects in the sky. The other one, it kind, I mean, it kind of looks like possibly. I haven't watched the video, but in the picture, it kind of looks like an orb, kind of like a shiny orb, in my opinion.
Hmm.
But that's more like spirit than UFO. But them other two objects definitely look something unexplained.
Right. Hmm.
Definitely some objects in the sky. You said you had a similar situation like that. You seen like a shiny light across the sky
Yeah.
around the lake.
Yeah. It was just a bright light, very bright, and I've not seen it since.
Wow.
Just the one time, and so I'm just, It was in my mind. What I've seen was a UFO. There was no other explanation for me for it except that that light was very bright, and that light was normally not there. There's no any other kind of lights that's there where that happened. So and like I said, I've not seen it since. It's the one time.
You don't have no other explanation for it. Which, if it's unidentified flying object, then it is a UFO.
Right.
I know a lot of these people that are skeptics and stuff will say, "Well, man, if you're going to say that, then definitely it could be something from our planet and stuff." We're not saying it's not something from our planet. We're just saying we've never seen anything that looks like this in the sky.
Right. Right. Well, I just know that it was a very bright light, and I mean very bright. And I've not seen it since. Just the one time.
Yeah. Do you have any ghost stories to tell since it's getting close to Halloween? I always ask the guests to tell us the creepy ghost story you got.
Just just the one story that I spoke of one night. We was talking, and it was outside of Salyersville, through that one stretch of road that the one house was. Uh, the story was that a lady was murdered inside that home, and that her spirit was there and haunting. It was haunting that home. Um, there was 4 hunters that was in the area, and they was on a hunt, and a storm come, and they went into the home to get away from the storm, and there was only one person came. It was four of them, and only one person came out. The other three um, was died. And what the one that survived said was, for for one of them, I mean, for one of them, he seen like an apparition, a spirit of a lady, and she was basically sucking the life out of him. Something like, what is the term for that? Shoot, it escapes me. It's uh, well, it's a spirit, but there's a term for it they use. A succubus. A succubus, basically, the way he described it. He seen that apparition of that lady, or of a lady, and she was taking the life from him, which would be considered a succubus, I think.
Wow, man, that's crazy. That's definitely one of the most creepiest stories that I've heard on here.
Yeah, it's just like I said, it's outside of Sayersville. I can't think of that community, but it's been a long time since I've been through there, but through that one little stretch through there you had that story, you had Sasquatch, you had UFO, there was all kinds of paranormal stuff, just all through that one little stretch of road through there. People had tales. And like I said, when they find out, that you're into that kind of stuff and you're not gonna make fun of them, they volunteer stuff like that, they'll tell you.
Absolutely. And I'll tell people about a ghost story, and then I'll end the podcast after this, and I'll get your opinion on it as well. It was in Bardstown, Kentucky, at the Tavern. People know what that is. It's a hotel and a restaurant in Bardstown, where Jesse James's ghost is supposed to be. Patty Starr, who I've had on the podcast, who is the person who does the Bardstown Ghost Walk, one of the best ghost hunters in the whole entire world, Patty Starr. And Jane, she said, Jesse James, if you were here, open the door and shut it. And literally about 15 seconds later, the door slams and shuts like 3 or 4 times.
Hmm.
And yeah, his ghosts, they have apparition pictures of him there and everything. So yeah, if people ain't watch that interview. It's not just about ghost hunting, it's also about history as well. We also talked about the history of Jesse James.
Cool. I love history.
Absolutely. Well, everybody should definitely check that out because that's one of the most interesting interviews I've did. One of my favorite interviews I've did is with Patty Starr. I used to go on our ghost walks as a kid, and it was crazy getting to interview her and talk about Bardstown, Kentucky, one of my favorite towns in the whole entire world. Definitely love Bardstown. If you ain't been there, go there. What's your opinion on that story, though, man?
Well, I mean, just like anything else, it's up if you have an open enough mind, to accept stuff like that. And yeah, I would accept that. That's true.
And there's also one last thing I want to tell people. We camp. We stayed in the hotel at the Jailers Inn in Bardstown, Kentucky, in the garden room, and on the Oculus, which is a ghost hunting app on your phone, we got the words Virginia. Hey, and this word gets creepy. Maybe like a couple months later, Patty Starr gets the same exact name, Virginia, on her app. That is very intelligent. It's not just going to say the exact same name on other people's ghost hunting apps that it says on yours. So that gives us a intelligent response and something that is intelligent. And there was definitely I believe a ghost there named Virginia. What's your opinion on that?
What's that now?
What's your opinion on that story?
That's the first time I've heard it.
Yeah, it's a it validates that the Jailers Inn is one of the most haunted places in Kentucky.
Yeah, that's a subject that, I know just vague, just not very much about, is about spirits and ghosts and hauntings and all that kind of stuff. Um, I've kind of in my life, I've stayed away from that kind of stuff.
well, well, I will tell you this: there's a reason why I'm a former ghost hunter, not a current ghost hunter.
I just, I've always been I mean, I've had some friends in the past that's done that kind of stuff. And I can um, this one friend of mine, she was into that spirit stuff. She was into Bigfoot. She also told about a creature that was similar in nature to Bigfoot, except it was a lot smaller. It was maybe 4 foot in stature, and they had named it Moonwalker. And she was into the spirits was basically was her forte, and she would visit places, and people would contact her if they had like um, a spirit and they wanted it investigated, and maybe I'm wanting to think that maybe she could do stuff, to to remove it. I'm not for sure about that part of that. But anyway, she told me a tale that she went to a home um, that was haunted, and there was the owner of the home had died.
Is
Can't
she a
remember if he,
psychic?
huh?
She's a psychic.
I want to think yes, she perhaps was.
Is she still
Yeah.
alive or?
I lost contact with her. I've not talked to her. It's been a long time. That was back when MySpace was the big thing instead of
Oh,
Facebook. So that
oh,
tells you how many years that's
yeah, that's been a while.
been. But she was telling me about a home that this lady contacted her and wanted to come and check it out. I can't remember if they'd purchased the home, and then it was realized that it was something going on there. It was haunted, and the story was that the owner of the home was, I'm wanting to think he was murdered maybe in the home. Someone tried to get in and rob him, and he was murdered. Not for sure if that's the way it was or if he just had passed away from some kind of illness or something. I want to think he was murdered. But anyway, she said her and a friend, they went to the home and set up and everything, and they was there for several hours. And they was just about to give up when she said all of a sudden they could hear organ music. And she said they just sit there, and she said they could hear that music, and there was like four guys maybe packing, came down the stairs from upstairs packing a casket, went through the parlor, on through the house and out the back door, and there's a cemetery back there. So basically what they seen was a reenactment of that funeral, basically, because the funeral was held in the home.
That
And
that's
and
a
he
that's a residual haunting. That's not intelligent. That means that just gonna keep on happening and happening at the exact same time.
yeah, and she said that I mean it was uh but what they would see they seen was, yeah, that they came down the stairs packing the casket and went through the parlor outside to the cemetery. And that same cemetery, I'm thinking she said there was also a spirit of a young girl.
Wow.
So and she said that actually, I mean, I don't know, I want to think that she actually maybe communicated with that in some way with that spirit, that child.
Yeah. Wow, man. That's definitely will give some people the chills and stuff, man. Well, man, it's been absolute fun having you on, man, and we definitely look forward to having you on here in the future. Possibly gonna have more than possibly. We're definitely gonna have you and Don Neal on next month, hopefully at the same time.
Yeah, I enjoyed Don. He's a knowledgeable person.
Absolutely. And yeah, man, we're gonna continue having more cryptid stuff than like sports. Still gonna talk about sports and all that stuff, but cryptid stuff is this podcast's main focus and stuff like that.
Yes.
Definitely love talking about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to thank Earl for being on. I want to thank you guys for subscribing. Y'all have a good night, and God bless.